Good afternoon and welcome to today's live stream brought to you by Temasek Polytechnic School of Design. My name is Eric. I'm a lecturer with the Diploma in Product and Industrial Design. Uh, and today's session is the last of four sessions that we have been bringing to you, providing you with information about the course, about the students, what student life is like, as well as specifically for today, upon graduation from the course, what life is like beyond PID and into the life of a university student. With me today is one of our alumni who's currently at NUS, the Department of Industrial Design. Her name is Tan Wei Jing. She graduated in 2018, and she's here to tell us a bit more about what her journey was like graduating from PID and applying for the course in NUS, and then subsequently her student life in NUS. Wei Ting, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for taking the time
Yeah.
out of your Saturday to join us. Okay, so we prepared some slides to also help with the narrative, right? And so, Wei Ting, take it away.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Eric. So, uh, yeah. So, hello. I'm Wei Xing and I graduated in PID in 2018, not too long ago. So, I'm here to share with you about my journey from polytechnic to university and how my university life is like and how different it is from polytechnic. Yeah. Eric, can go next slide. Yeah, the next one also. Yeah, so I'll start off with sharing about how during my last semester in TP, which is what the year three students are experiencing right now. So during my last semester in TP, I applied for a position in NUS Industrial Design, and the application is actually pretty simple, where it's just a $10 application fee along with just survey questions about yourself, and you have to write a short write up about yourself, about introducing what your life is about and why you're interested in joining the division of industrial design in NUS. Yeah. So after a few weeks later, I went out for the interview, and um, the interview was actually split into two sessions. So the first session is for students who do not have any design background, where you are required to draw on the spot and improve the products that they give you. So when you enter the room, there will be multiple products where you have to pick which product you want to kind of improve on. So they'll test your product design skills or your drawing skills. And on top of that, before you come for the interview, they will actually send you um, an email about five different videos where you have to take down notes. So they'll question you during the one-to-one interview about what you learned from this video that they shared with you. Yeah, so however, if you are currently from PID and you manage to get shortlisted for the interview, you get to skip the first session and go straight to the interview with two professors. So during this 2-to-1 interview, you are required to show your portfolio of no more than 8 pages. Yeah. So I'll just show you what I showed for my interview, which is my portfolio. Yeah, so here is what I showcase in my portfolio, and majority are projects done in TP, which branches out from my projects from year one to year three, and also FIP and internship books. Yeah. So these are just very like summed up explanations of what I did for the past 3 years in my polytechnic life. And from this portfolio, they will kind of like pick questions out from like your FIP. They ask you to kind of go in depth about what you did or how you went about to get to this topic and how your final outcome was like. Yeah. So it was quite nerve wracking, but I felt that it was kind of worth it because the professors they do not show you expressions, so it's quite scary. But at the same time, they will kind of make you feel a bit more relaxed by asking you questions at the end towards the interview. Yeah, and it's always good to ask them questions when they ask you if you have any other things to ask them, so they kind of know that you have interest in getting in this course as well. Yeah. So after my interview, about a month later, I received an acceptance letter from NUS, and was told that since my poly course was related, which is product and industrial design, it was a direct related course, so I could skip a year and go straight into year two. Yeah, so if you are from PID and are interested in getting to NUS DID, I suggest that you guys give it a shot as well, because we really have the benefit and the advantage of skipping the year one foundation. So you kind of like make up for the time that you kind of like used in poly in NUS. So you will go straight into year two, which you will go straight into doing projects and studios instead of doing the foundation batch in year one. Yeah. So I also attended a design orientation course, orientation in NUS, which is Aki ID, which was really fun because you get to know people from DID. And I would like to say that our DID family is really, really, really small. So it's kind of the same size as PID, so you get to know everyone from across year one to year four. Yeah, so it's a really nice like you get to know everyone from there. Yeah, so moving on, apart from application and orientation, I would like to share with you how my life has been like in NUS industrial design for the past 2.5 years. So these are like 5 things that I'll be sharing today, which is quite different from School of Design in TP. And I'll also be sharing projects that I've done in NUS as well. Yeah, so starting off, I'll kind of like tap on the more administrative stuff, which is core GE mods in NUS. It's a little boring from a perspective of a design student, because I would kind of say that design students are more visual learners, whereas these core GE mods are more like exam based and statistic based as well. So some of these core mods have exams, and some you can actually bid for those with no examinations as well. So it depends on your interest. Yeah, so and unlike TP, in NUS we actually have exams. So we are not like a TP School of Design where we are completely examination free. We have exams in NUS as well, which are design related, such as history of industrial design, human centered design, and also the technology for design. Yeah, so these will be taken during year two and year three, and all these will be pre-allocated to you as well, like how we are pre-allocated mods in TP. Yeah, so this will all be done in year two and year three. Okay, so moving on. In NUS DID, I know in TP we call it P1, P2, P3, which are projects, but in NUS we call it studios or platforms. So do not get confused, because I was super confused when I first entered, and I was like, what are platforms? Yeah. So unlike TP, we have to take 2 platforms per semester, one on Monday and one on Thursday. So I know that in TP, PID, we only take one project per semester. So in NUS, you have to balance out between your Monday platform and your Thursday platform as well. Yeah, so these platforms will actually be group work, but sometimes we have the freedom of doing it individually or even pair work. So group work can go up to 3 or 4 members per group, depending on your professor's platform brief. Yeah, so and in NUS, it is compulsory for us to partner someone from another year. So for example, I'm in year two, I'm only allowed to partner someone in year three or year four. So unlike TP where you can partner your own friends from your same batch, in NUS, it's not allowed unless there are other circumstances of not enough students of different years, then you are allowed to partner your friend of the same year. But in NUS, we partner vertically, yeah, so it's up or down. Yeah. So moving on, like the next thing that shocked me the most during NUS was actually the bidding system. Because in TP, it's not as in TP we kind of get the projects we want easily by telling like Eric or like Elvis, like saying like I'm more interested in this project, so I want to do this brief instead. But in NUS, it's kind of more of an official system where you have to use points to bid for the platforms. Yeah, so for example, you are allocated 140 points for 10 different platforms. So in the semester, they'll there will be 10 or up to like 12 different projects where you are allowed to decide which one you're more interested in. So for example, you're allocated 140 points for 10 platforms, and these 140 points must be used finish, and there are no repeated points are allowed. So for example, for your 10th choice, you're the most least interested in this project because it's out of your design interest. So you will technically bid 1 point for it, and then moving in like an ascending order up to two platforms that you want for Monday and Thursday. So this is how you will kind of like basically bid for it. Like the 9th choice, you put 2, moving on to 3 points, 4 points, and then up to the first 2 choices, which should be one for your Monday platform and one for your Thursday platform. So the remaining points would then be divided into these 2 choices that you want, depending on how you want to split your points. Yeah, so there are many other ways for you to strategize your points, but I think this is the most common way that all of us do it in NUS, because the higher points you get, the higher points you bid means like of you getting it. But then if everyone bids for the same points, then they will use a randomized selector to choose which students get into the platform. Yeah, so hopefully you get the choices you want. If not, you get pushed to the other platforms, yeah, which is quite sad. Okay, then in year 3 of NUSDID, you are allowed to go for exchange or internship. So for me, I chose to stay in Singapore and intern at Student Norm again with David, which I'm sure a few of you or many of you may know who David is because he's a lecturer in TP as well. So when I went back to intern at Student Norm with David, it was really an amazing semester because the 6 months I just interned there, and he was really nice because he kind of trusted me and allowed me to bring my friend along with me. So 2 of us interned together, and it was really fun. So however, if you are not interested in interning in Singapore, you are actually allowed to go for exchange or NOC program for 1 year or half a year overseas, such as like Taiwan, Korea, France, US, and many more. So there are a lot of choices, but all these are based on your GPAs in NUS. So it might get a little bit competitive because they see your results instead of like just plain interviews. Yeah. And okay, so apart from the administrative side of all the culture shock things that kind of like scared me in NUS, I'll move on to the NUS projects that I have done so far in the past 2.5 years. So these are just from my point of view and the design interest that I took in NUS. But at the end, I'll share with you verbally about what other projects that we kind of do in NUS as well. So during my first semester, which is year 2, Sem 1 in 2018, design analysis was a platform that allowed us to explore and find our personal design universe, which is how our design language is like, or what inspires us through like your stylishness, creativity, or even aesthetics. So after like analytical work for like I think 1 to 2 months of like ideation and how your design universe works, we were tasked to design 3 to 5 tabletop objects alongside with our logo type and our branding as well. So the series I designed consisted of a table lamp, a bookend, paperweight, a pen, and also a pen holder. Yeah, so Simple Serenity was also then selected to be incubated in NUS Design Incubation Center for future manufacturing under the supervision of my platform professor, which is Christoph. Yeah, so I also interned at DIC for 3 months, trying to find manufacturers to fabricate these out. And right now, we are working together with Portugal for the marble manufacturer to actually produce this series out to be sold in the future. Yeah. So in NUS, you kind of have opportunities of such things as well, because projects like many different projects get selected to be fabricated out or actually be in the industry. Yeah, so it's a really good advantage for all of us over there. Yeah, so moving on, along with design analysis, like I mentioned, you had to take 2 platforms per semester. So other than design analysis, I took a spatial platform which was in collaboration with Shiseido, and we were tasked to design a modular system for the airport retail context. So during our Shiseido um, kind of like lessons every week, the clients will actually come down, like real clients from Shiseido will come down, and there will eventually be a winner for each for this platform where we'll fabricate out. Yeah, so for for our project, which I partner with my senior, our project is called Multidimensional, and it's a modular retail system that can be easily tailored to fit into any cosmetic brand. And the system is set up by arranging several base blocks in the desired configuration and subsequently stacking a series of frames on top. So these blocks with the delicate frames create a dynamic and unique display that stands out in the bustling travel retail environment. So as you can see, like what we do in NUS is really there's a really wide range of design aspects that we do up to like spatial design as well. So if this is your interest, I'm sure that you can pursue it in NUSDID also. Yeah. So moving on, in year two, sem two, I took a platform which was called DDD, Digital Design of a Desk Lamp. So it was a platform where we are required to design a desk lamp. So using the same design universe from my design analysis, I actually designed a desk lamp that was interchangeable, where you can choose your preferred lampshade. So this platform was actually pretty relaxed, I would say, because it's during year two, sem two, where everyone is out for exchange and internship. So there'll be super little people left. So during this semester, it will just be like individual platforms, my professor was really nice and kind of like agreed and always gave us motivation that we were on the right track. Yeah, so he's a really nice professor also. So moving on to alongside the DDD platform, I took a platform which was called Founders Memorial, and it was a platform where we have to design for Singapore's upcoming Founders Memorial located opposite Gardens by the Bay. So my groupmates and I were inspired by stories from Singapore, where we came up with organic forms for the building. So, where you can see the skyline view of Singapore, and these are just renders with photo bash. So we were not taught how to CAD or like design buildings because we are design course. So it was really scary because we were suddenly like architects in product design. So my friends and I were just like really scared about designing buildings, and it was really a different experience because we had to photo bash like buildings together or like CAD super big scale buildings. But it was a really fun experience, I would say, because it's not something you will get to experience in TPID. Yeah. So moving on to year two, year three, sem one. Yeah, was took a platform under AirShio. So it was designing for Ikigai economies, where a platform where we had to design for values and meaningful roles. Yeah, so my groupmate and I designed a scalable, configurable, modular planter system. So all these were just CAD and photo bash as well. So they were upcycled from excess timber designed to proliferate gotong royongs of 4 generations, and for a more united community in Singapore for like the HDBs or like community centers. Yeah, and it gives an individual's centering experience where you can sit and unwind. So it gives you the flow and a meaningful social connectivity with your neighbors and the people that you live together with. So along with just aside with of just sitting in the middle where you can unwind, these uh modular planter systems actually attract bees, honeys, and edible flora where people can plant their own gardening system where it makes everyone come together. Yeah. So moving on to year three, sem one, which was another platform that I took, which it was another Shiseido platform. So I feel that I chose Shiseido again was because I'm more interested in the spatial aspect, and out of all the other platforms, I felt that this was kind of what I was more interested in doing. Yeah, so this time we had to fabricate a pop-up located at Changi Jewel, and our concept was chosen to be fabricated. Yeah. So inspiring with sensors is actually the winning event space concept with 3 different interactive zones. So it creates a sensory experience to evoke symphony, serenity, and calm, where users can smell how the Shiseido autoimmune product is like, and also has a interactive garden with camellia flowers, where it will reflect the brand as well as how it's expressed through dynamism, playfulness, and also energy. Yeah, so this platform was really fun because we had to play with the space, which was really big. And the good thing is that we won for this Shiseido platform, and it was really a nice feeling to actually win. And they are actually in the midst of fabricating it to be located at Changi Jewel. Yeah. So moving on to the last platform that I took, which was just last semester, which was my year 4 Sem 1. I took a platform under Olivia Lee, which was Fictitious Forms. And I'm sure some of you may know who Claudia is. I think Claudia just graduated last year. So the good thing was that David introduced Claudia to me because he told me that she was coming into NUS, and thankfully we were in the same platform. So she's year 2 and I'm year 4, so we could partner together. Yeah. So it was really nice to partner someone from TP as well. Yeah. So moving on, my groupmates and I designed for a world in absence of numbers and focus on a kitchen setting for baking. Yeah. So in this world, like recipe comes in forms of cards where ingredients are measured with ratios. So they will pour the ingredients onto this, and it will be accurate every time. And along with packaging that has a metal strip that oxidizes to rust because it indicates that the product has expired. So because we do not have numbers in this world, we had to replace numbers with something else. So we went for oxidization. Yeah, timers, and the timers came in form of spinners, and like the heavier they are, the longer they spin, and the lighter they are, the faster they stop. So we were inspired by the fidget spinner actually. So we were experimenting a lot with fidget spinners and how heavy they are or how light they are. Yeah, so these timers and this series were actually meant to measure the amount of time or the amount of ingredients needed to bake for example, like a brownie or a cake or even a cupcake. Yeah. So that's all for the platforms that I took this semester. And just to sum up with like happier images of how my life is in NUS. These are just like a collage of my life in NUS. I mean, it's not all, but I met really good people there, like really, really close friends. And I can say that you will have as much fun in NUS as compared to TP. Like they are both equally fun. Like do not have the stereotype of how NUS people are like really like studious or what. So if you're interested in pursuing a degree in industrial design, like do not be afraid to further study in NUS. So because I heard that they are also increasing their intakes, if I'm not wrong. So there's no harm to give a shot. Like just submit the application and just go for the interview and just try your luck. Yeah. Yeah, that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Wei Jing, for that very informative and illuminating presentation. I think it's a massive testament to your capability as a designer that you can
Mm,
cover things from product design to retail to architecture and spatial,
mm,
even to talk about user experience in gardening and also
yeah.
projects that to related with materiality. I think that's amazing where you've come since graduation,
Mm,
and I still remember your design show, sort of like uh, presentation and the works that you put up. Very memorable. A lot of stuff that of course, ultimately gave you the opportunity to go into NUS, which I think was very thoroughly deserved, right?
yeah.
So thank you for sharing. While waiting for some questions to come in from the YouTube live stream, I think it's also maybe I can ask you some questions as well at the same time, if that's okay, just
Yeah.
to ask you a few questions, to cover some of the things that you may or may not have already
Mm.
covered. So, what do you think was the biggest difference between poly grads and JC grads in NUS?
So, poly grads, I would say we are more, because okay, so poly grads we go directly into year two, right? So basically we only have like a group of us. So
Mm-hmm.
we will know each other really well because my batch there are only 5 of us that entered. But what I know from Claudia is her batch is like up to 14 people. Yeah, so
Wow.
they are expanding their intake already. So
Mm,
I will just say like from my point of view lah, poly people are more like we see things. Okay, I will start off with the JC students. I feel like people from JC they have more experience with their narratives and storytelling because like they have better background with like their English, they are more profound in their English or how they would kind of piece up stories to create a very simple narrative which will upsell their products, which I feel that that is something that I'm kind of lacking of in a way because from poly we just like we CAD, we do renderings and all, but in JC they get the aspect of English and like how they would narrate their things really well. And I feel that poly students we are more um not really okay, we are closer to each other because like I said, we only had 5 people from my intake. Yeah, so basically we only have each other. But we also mix around with the JC kids lah. So overall
sure.
I feel that our batch is pretty united in a way because all of us are pretty much the same. Like when we work hard, we work hard. When we play. Yeah. Yeah. So
Fantastic.
that's
So, in maybe just as what's the one thing that you feel that as a poly grad you have an advantage over the JC grads?
wow. Okay. So something that's pretty obvious is our CADing or rendering skills because we already have experience with it for 3 years in poly, right? I must say. So when we
Right.
enter, we kind of already have that head start of like, oh, I know how to use Rhino, I know how to use AI, I know how to use Photoshop, Keyshot, um, just all these basic things that we learn in TP. But
Mm,
whereas if you enter from a JC's point of view, you will have to start from year one. So you will
mm,
only have that 1 year to kind of actually pick up all the skills before you go straight into projects which are year two, which starts in year two already. Yeah,
mhm,
so that is one thing that I would say that we kind of have the advantage of. Yeah.
mm. So, what about SIP? Because with internships the internship program that
Mm.
you engage with here in TP, and then how has
Yeah.
that benefited you, uh, based on the rigor of the university education that you've gone through in NUS?
So like how my internship in TP helped me, is it?
That's right.
Yeah, okay. So so working with during in TP I interned for David also, which was student
Mm,
norm. So from what I learned from him was to communicate with clients or how you need to get work done out within a short period of time. So in NUS, what we do is we kind of have platforms where we work with real clients, like I said, like Shiseido. Sometimes like DBS comes in or like GovTech, which is Singapore's government, which is more of like a
mhm,
service design kind of thing. So what I learned from TP is like SIP is how you need to manage your time really well and like set up to expectations of clients, not just your lecturers, because sometimes like okay in TP where lecturers you can be like okay like I can do better next time, like can you give me another chance, that kind of thing. But in the real world, like what you learn from SIP is that real clients out there is like real time and real money. So this is what we also have to bring in for NUS platforms as well because they are real clients and real money also, where they will basically choose a winner at the end. So everybody will like kind of like work together to like make sure that we are up to the ID standard with the help of our professors as well. Yeah.
fantastic, fantastic. So, the next question I have, right, is you mentioned earlier about the bidding system in NUS
Yeah.
as being one massive culture shock. What was the other? Were there any other culture shocks, or any difficulties, adjusting from poly life to life in university?
Okay, other than that, in TP, I would say we have the luxury of having a material workshop, which is uh our material store of like woods, foam, and everything, where we are basically free. You just go there with your material form and get like Elvis or Eric or like Moses to sign. But another thing that was culturally shocking to me was that materials in NUS are basically not free. Like you have
Mm,
to cover everything yourself. So that's where it gets a little bit tight for us also, because sometimes we want to do this but we have to go out of our budget to buy these certain materials, or like get 3D print stuff that are super expensive because it's not the finishing that we want. So it kind of takes a toll on us also, that some of this money might not be given back to us. But however, some platforms you are allowed to claim back this money as well. But it depends on your luck lah. Like sometimes there was one platform that I tried to get my money back, but I didn't know why the money didn't go back, like get back to me
oh
also.
dear,
Yeah. So
I see.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Then
Well, I'm glad that you brought it up about
mm,
the materials because I think that's something that when you're in this system, especially for our students, I think in the School of Design, the truth is yes, we do definitely provide materials
mm,
for students because we want the learning to happen and we want to make sure that the
yeah.
students have that material aspect facilitated. Of course, there's a
Mm-hmm,
limit to the type of materials that we provide, right? And if they want, if the students want to make their models or these have the outcome with more exotic materials, we also try to tell them, hey, is it absolutely necessary for you to buy that?
mm,
Is it possible for you to simulate that by, for example, if it's exotic woods, can it be veneers, or if it's leather, can you use
mm,
fake leather rather than going all out to buy all these expensive materials? So from our point of view, we try to be sensitive to that aspect because we
yeah.
know that materials are expensive, right? But of course,
Mm,
I think to be fair to you, I think across the board in Singapore for universities, they don't really give up materials. I think it's
yeah.
something that seems to only
Yeah.
happen in the poly level, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's a fantastic point to put across. So let's talk about COVID. In the last year
Mm,
or so, I understand that COVID also affected the way you did your internship with David for a second time while you were in
yeah.
NUS. But how else has the
Yeah.
sort of like the COVID situation affected your learning in NUS, if at all?
Okay, so last semester I was doing my thesis and platform already. So I started on my final year, which was my first half of my thesis and my last platform. So I would say that COVID affected us, but not super badly, because that was when it was already starting to die down in a way. So for
Mm,
platforms under we could only go to school I think two two or three times that per semester. So the rest we had to kind of meet online weekly with Olivia, like Zoom meetings. And it was really
mhm,
difficult because um like how for design you kind of need to meet physically to ideate with your group mates, which will be more like productive in a way, which we couldn't
mhm,
do because we were not allowed to enter the DID zone or like NUS zone at all. So but we'll try to meet up secretly outside of school, but sometimes it gets a little bit too difficult as well because of the situations about meeting outside in public at that point of time. So we all
that's right.
just
Yeah.
kind of met on Zoom, yeah. So
Mm,
other than that, like for my thesis, everything was online submission also. Like
mm,
uh for example, we have demo day which we have to display our prototypes for our thesis. We kind of had to do like photo shoots or like GIFs just to show it through Zoom, or like through
mm,
we use Loom lah, like a 7-minute video, so we have to upload it there. And we also use the Miro board, which is the online visual sharing whiteboard. So we kind of show our thesis through this entire Miro board where you submit through there. And it was quite difficult also because weekly we have to meet our processors, which is quite difficult. So
I
it's like
see.
we are only allowed to go to school for 1 day in our NUS application, which is our thesis day. So
Mm, 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 mm.
officially we are only allowed to go to school on like I think Wednesdays and Mondays, which is Wednesday I think, which is to meet our
I
thesis
see.
professor.
I
So it
see.
was a bit difficult for that semester lah. But
Mm,
thankfully next semester would be kind of more physical from what I heard so far. Yeah.
I understand. Well, I think across the world, a lot of university students are now facing this dilemma, right? Especially for those
Yeah.
who are planning to go overseas to study. I know of at least two
Mm.
alumni, one of whom is actually currently still in overseas, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then another recently came back because it's the same time zone, so it doesn't really matter. But for those who are kind of like planning to go overseas to study, they have to weigh this dilemma. What happens if I go?
Mm.
Especially certain countries where the COVID restrictions are very tight, and then the benefits of going overseas, at least at this point in time, within this context of
Yeah.
COVID-19, it may not be super beneficial to go overseas to study. So they have to maybe also look at local options, right?
Mm.
Because there's no time zone difference. Singapore, at least we have the situation relatively under control, thank
Yeah.
goodness, right? But of course, who knows what the future may bring. Although at the same time, I think we have been very blessed, right? That our
Yeah.
situation has been steadily improving, rather than kind of like in
Mm.
start kind of situation with other countries where they have to impose lockdown periodically. But with that in mind, what about your friends? How are they adjusting in terms of like, to this new normal of working from home, or at least, remote learning? How has that changed the way you guys approach a consultation with your tutors?
Okay. So I think I'll talk about the last question first, at how we
Yeah.
go about consulting our thesis professor. So um like in TP where everyone would just crowd around in the year three studio where everyone is super near each other. So in NUS right now where you have to consult your professors, we're kind of like socially distancing ourselves because even like our tables, right, where we consult our professors, we sit super like 1 meter apart from each other. So that is quite weird in a way because usually everyone is just so close to each other. Yeah. So and other than that, I think my friends are I think we kind of enjoy the online system for the first part, but after a while it kind of felt a bit sad because we didn't really see each other as often as we did in the previous few semesters where we take like mirror selfies every day or like just have that much fun of like your uni like your uni design life in studio. So that was one part that I think we all really missed a lot in the previous semester. Yeah. So
Sure.
thankfully we get to go back and then thankfully I just saw them yesterday also.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
very nice.
Mm.
Okay. Well, I think in the absence of questions from YouTube live stream, I just want to say thank you so much, Wei Ching, for
Mm.
coming in to chat with me, to share your experiences, going through your journey from PID through to NUS. I think you've brought up very
Mm-hmm.
fantastic points about some of the opportunities that are out there for students. Let's not forget that in Singapore there are multiple universities, not just NUS, right?
Yeah.
For product design students to move into. There are many fantastic programs
Yeah.
that are out there that students can aspire to move into, but using the polytechnic sort of like diploma program as a stepping stone.
Mm.
Even if
Yeah.
even if it
Definitely.
isn't, they don't want to go to university, they can of course find a job immediately thereafter. Or some people, in
Mm.
fact, what they do is they take a year to work, and then they
Mm.
go
Yeah.
into uni after that. And
Yeah.
that in itself has there's no shame in that, right? I mean, uh,
Mm.
what with personal circumstances, or maybe they just want to earn some money, right? And I think
Mm-hmm.
um, all these options are abound. So just to help
Yeah.
to share with the people who are watching in, prospective students of this course, there are many
Mm-hmm.
opportunities that await for you when you come through this course.
Yeah.
And we want to encourage you guys to find out more. Please remember that you can always go to the TP website, go to School of
Mm.
Design, Diploma in Product and Industrial Design, find out more information. Um, Wei Jing, is has been so kind to help us, to understand what the situation has been like for her, at
Mm.
least. So I think that's all from us today. I think we have had a wonderful 40 minutes or so of insight and illumination. Um, I think that's all from us for today. I just want to thank you all for coming in to listen to us. Wei Jing, thank you for spending your Saturday with us.
Yeah.
Okay,
No
for everyone
problem.
else, okay, there's still a gamut of programs that are happening after this session. So if you please remember to come back at about 2 o'clock, there'll be more programs for you as well. That's all from us at the Diploma in Product and Industrial Design, Temasek Polytechnic School of Design. My name is Eric, signing out. Take care and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Purchase your tracks today.
So, if you have a passion for fashion and feel that life is dull without style, then this course is for you. Come join us in apparel design and merchandising at the Temasek Poly School of Design.
Purchase your tracks.
See you soon. Bye bye.
If you believe that creativity means being the best version of yourself and setting your mind free, come join us at Communication Design.
Make it on the first tee.
I just wanted somebody to talk to.
Why are you stopping me now? It wasn't my fault.
Fine! 2 minutes lah. Okay, later once you're gone anyway.
So if you wish to tell your stories on screen, bring your audiences on an emotional journey of laughter and tears. One award-winning film at a time. Then come join us at
Temasek Polytechnic Digital Film and Television.